My wife's AP threatened me at Walmart. There I was, standing in a Walmart, three guys surrounding me in the cereal aisle. One of them was my wife's AP. The other two were his muscle. They didn't want money. They were there to try and kick my ass. For what? I don't know. I lifted my shirt just enough to show them the Glock 19 on my hip. That ended the conversation pretty quick. Let me back up 5 months and show you how I got there. 10 years. That's how long I'd been married when everything fell apart. 10 years of building a life with someone I thought I knew completely. Turns out I didn't know her at all. 5 months ago, things started feeling off. She was glued to her phone constantly, tilting the screen away whenever I walked by. Working late became her new routine. 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. When she was home, she wasn't really present. Her mind was somewhere else, with someone else. I'm not typically the suspicious type, but my gut kept screaming that something was wrong. For 3 months, I tried to rationalize it away. Work stress, marriage hitting a rough patch, normal life stuff. Then one night at just after 3 in the morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I got up, grabbed my laptop, and logged into our phone account. Pulled up the call history for the last 3 months. Hundreds of calls, all to the same unknown number, some lasting over an hour, happening at bizarre times, lunch breaks, late nights when she claimed to be at the office, even 6 a.m. before work. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. But I needed more than phone records. I needed absolute proof. The next day, I ordered a GPS tracker online. $80 for a magnetic device that could stick under her car. When it arrived, I attached it to her rear bumper while she was at work. 30 seconds, and it was done. For 3 days, I watched normal patterns on my phone. Work, gym, grocery store, home. Then Thursday evening arrived. She texted me about working late on a big project deadline. I checked the tracker app. She wasn't at her office. She was at a house. At least that's the way it looked. An area she had zero reason to be in. The little dot on my screen didn't move for 4 hours. I sat in our driveway, staring at my phone, watching that dot, feeling my entire world disintegrate. 4 hours at a stranger's house. There was no innocent explanation for that. She came home around 10:30, like nothing happened, said she was exhausted, and went straight to the shower. I watched this stranger in my wife's body and said nothing. 2 days later, her best friend called. They'd been close since college, 15 years of friendship. She asked if we could meet, said we needed to talk. Her voice sounded strained, almost scared. The next afternoon, we met at this mom and pop place. She looked like she might be sick, fidgeting with her cup, avoiding eye contact. She told me she'd been going back and forth about this for weeks, but she couldn't stay quiet anymore. She slid her phone across the table. She said my wife had been cheating on me for at least 3 months, probably longer. On the screen was a text conversation between them. My wife was describing this guy like he was the love of her life. How exciting everything felt, how alive, how she hadn't felt this way in years. The details made it crystal clear this wasn't emotional. It was physical, very physical. My friend swiped to another screenshot, a photo my wife had sent her, a selfie of her and him at some restaurant, looking like an actual couple. His arm draped around her shoulders. She was beaming, smiling bigger than I'd seen in months. My friend explained that my wife had been treating her like a confidant, telling her everything. At first, it sounded harmless, like maybe just a crush. But then, my wife started talking about exit strategies, about leaving me. My friend said she couldn't let my wife destroy my life without me at least knowing the truth. I stared at that photo. He looked younger than me, mid-20s, covered in tattoos. He looked like the classic bad boy most women go for. She showed me more, Instagram DMs between them, plans to meet up, my wife's elaborate lies about where she was going, everything. I thanked her and left, sat in my car in the parking lot for almost an hour, feeling numb. We talked about kids. We bought a house together, built an entire life, and she was throwing it away for someone she barely knew. I didn't confront her immediately. With just screenshots and phone records, she denied everything, claimed that evidence was manipulated, that her friend was lying. I needed to catch them together, so I kept monitoring the tracker. That weekend, she announced she was going to a music festival with coworkers, Girls' Day Out. Saturday morning, I checked the app. The tracker showed her car at his house first. 30 minutes later, her vehicle headed toward the festival. I followed at a distance, watched them park, watched them walk toward the entrance holding hands like they were a real couple, like I didn't exist. I paid for admission and pushed through the crowd. 20 minutes of searching before I spotted them near one of the main stages. They were dancing, his hands all over her, and she was laughing, genuinely happy. Something inside me snapped. I walked straight up to them. My wife saw me first. She was super surprised when she saw me. I told her it was funny running into her there, thought she was with her girlfriends. He turned around, confused. He asked who I was. I told him I was her husband. His face went through about 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. He said, "Wait, what? Husband?" She told him we were separated, that we were getting divorced. I asked him if that's what she'd said. Interesting, because we were very much still married. We shared a bed every single night. We were not separated. We were not getting divorced. We were married. Had been for 10 years. My wife tried to speak. She started to say she could explain. I abruptly told her to shut the fuck up. You don't need to say anything. People were starting to stare, phones coming out. He looked furious now. He said he didn't know she was still with me, that she told him it was over between us. I told him it wasn't over until about 30 seconds ago. My wife finally found her voice. I asked her, 2 years, and she never said a word, never suggested counseling, never tried to fix anything, just went straight to this. She said she tried talking to me, that I was always buried in work. I asked if that was her excuse. I was shouting now. I asked if I worked too much, so cheating was justified. He stepped between us. He started to say maybe we should just all calm down. I shoved him backward. That was my mistake. He shoved back harder, and suddenly we were throwing punches in front of hundreds of people. His right hook caught my jaw, blood in my mouth, stumbling backward. I came back at him, landed a solid hit to his ribs. We went down, grappling on the ground, both landing blows. My wife was screaming, trying to pull him away. The crowd around us was chaos, yelling, recording, backing up. Then security arrived. 3 massive guys in yellow shirts physically pried us apart. More staff came running. One of them told us the police were on their way, that we were both banned from the venue. Cops showed up 10 minutes later, took statements from everyone. Multiple witnesses confirmed I pushed first. He said he wanted to press charges, that I assaulted him. He was really playing up his injuries. The officer looked at me, then at him, then at my wife standing beside him. The cop asked if this was a cheating situation. He sounded like he's seen this 1,000 times. I told the police officer he was sleeping with my wife. My wife's AP corrected me, said he was sleeping with her, didn't know she was married. The cop sighed. He told us we both threw punches. We were both injured. There was video evidence of the whole thing. He was issuing us both citations for disorderly conduct. He told my wife's AP he could press charges if he wanted, but his advice was to go home and handle this like adults. His friend pulled him aside, whispered something, probably telling him he didn't want cops looking into his background. The cops told us to leave because we were banned from the festival separately. My wife didn't even look at me as she left with him and his friends. I stood there, blood still dripping from my nose, watching her walk away. That's when I knew it was really over. Not because of the fight, but because when she had to choose in that moment, she chose him. I drove home in a daze. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. My ribs hurt so bad I could barely breathe. I barely made it to work that week. Called in, told them I had a family emergency, which wasn't really a lie. I spent 2 days just sitting in our house, looking at everything we'd built together, wondering how it all went so wrong so fast. Our mutual friends started calling. Word had spread about the fight. Someone at the festival had filmed it on their phone. It wasn't viral or anything, but it made the rounds on local social media. Most of our friends didn't know whose side to take. All of our friends have known us for years. Some tried to stay neutral and ended up ghosting both of us. A few reached out to check on me. Even fewer sided with her. My parents were furious when I told them. They always liked her, treated her like a daughter. My mom actually cried on the phone. Her parents tried to stay neutral, which somehow made it worse, like they couldn't even defend what she did, but they couldn't abandon their daughter either. The house felt like a tomb. Everything reminded me of her, of us. The couch we picked out together, the photos on the walls from our wedding, our vacations, the coffee maker she used every morning. I couldn't stay there. I filed for divorce 3 days after the festival incident. Found a lawyer through a friend's recommendation. Cost me $2,500 just to start. My lawyer reviewed everything, phone records, GPS data, the screenshots from a friend. He told me I had a strong case. That same day, she filed for an emergency restraining order against me, claimed I was violent and unstable based on the festival fight. She got a temporary order approved. I had to move out of the house immediately. Couldn't come within 500 feet of her. The hearing happened 2 weeks later. I showed the judge all the evidence of her affair. Explained that yes, I lost control when I discovered them together, but it was a single incident born from extreme emotional distress. The judge wasn't pleased with either of us, but could see what had really happened. He dismissed the permanent restraining order with a warning to stay away from her affair partner. He told us to handle our divorce civilly, or we'd both be in contempt. 4 months of lawyers and paperwork followed. She fought for more than half of everything, the house, our savings, all of it. My lawyer wasn't having any of it. With documented proof of her infidelity, she had no leverage. We sold the house and split the proceeds 50-50, divided bank accounts the same way. She kept her car, I kept mine. We had to divide furniture and belongings through our lawyers because we couldn't be in the same room. The good thing was she did not get any alimony. But 3 weeks after the divorce, something else happened, something I'm still processing. I was doing some grocery shopping, trying to establish a new normal in my life. Standing in the cereal aisle, deciding between options, when I heard a voice behind me. The voice said, "Well, well, well, look who it is." I turned around, my wife's AP, with two other guys, both clearly gym regulars. All three were blocking the aisle, looking at me with open hostility. I asked what he wanted. He said he just wanted to chat, stepping closer while his friends fanned out. He told me I embarrassed him at that festival. Someone had filmed the whole thing, posted it online. His boss saw it. He lost his job because of me. I didn't feel even a trace of sympathy. I told him he lost his job because he was sleeping with a married woman and got caught. Actions have consequences. One of his friends laughed, said I was a funny guy. He wasn't amused. He told me how this was going to work. Said I owed him compensation for that job he lost, for the reputation I damaged. I told him I didn't owe him anything. He said that was the wrong answer. He moved even closer. He said if I wasn't willing to pay voluntarily, maybe we needed to have this conversation somewhere more private. The threat was unmistakable. Three guys trying to shake me down in broad daylight at a Walmart. Now, something I haven't mentioned yet. About a year earlier, there were some break ins in our neighborhood. Nothing major, but enough that I got my concealed carry permit. Took the class, passed a background check, bought a Glock 19, practiced regularly at the range. Never imagined I'd actually need it. I was wrong about that. I asked him if he knew what CCW stood for. His face scrunched in confusion. He asked, "What?" I told him, "Concealed carry weapon." I lifted my shirt slightly, just enough to reveal the holster on my hip. I told him I had a legal permit, and currently he and his two friends were threatening me in a public place. That's assault. If any of them touched me, it would become battery, and I had every legal right to defend myself. I also pointed out those security cameras overhead, told them Walmart's got excellent surveillance, recording this entire conversation. The police wouldn't have any trouble identifying who the aggressors were. All three of them went pale. His friends took a step back. I continued, telling them they had a choice: walk away right now and we all go about our day, or keep threatening me, and I guaranteed all three of them they would regret it. It was their call. Nobody moved for what felt like an eternity. The tension was suffocating. Then he stepped backward. I told him to leave. Staying was not a wise decision. They walked out without another word. I stood there for a moment, adrenaline flooding my system, hands trembling. Then I went straight to my car and called the police, filed a formal report about the incident. The officers took it seriously, especially given the security footage and the concealed carry element. After that, I never heard from him again. The divorce finalized about 8 months after I filed. When I got the official papers, I sat in my new one-bedroom apartment and felt absolutely nothing. Not relief, not sadness, just empty. I'd invested 10 years in someone I thought was my partner, my best friend, my future. She threw it away for someone she barely knew. And when I confronted them, when the choice was right in front of her, she chose him. That told me everything. I'm doing better now. Dating casually again. Nothing serious yet. Maybe not for a while. I heard through her friend, who I still talk to occasionally, that my ex-wife and her AP are living together. I just don't care anymore. She's not my problem. The hardest part is rebuilding. My sense of self, my ability to trust, my judgment about people. 10 years is a long time to invest. And when it collapses, you question everything. Did I ever really know her? Were there warning signs I missed? Can I trust myself anymore? But I'm working through it. Some days are easier than others. What I know for certain now, I'll never ignore my instincts again. If something feels wrong, it probably is. I deserved honesty. I deserved a partner who would fight for our marriage instead of running without trying. Now I understand that, and I won't settle for less. I keep asking myself, do I regret what I did? The festival, confrontation, the fight, all of it. The fight, absolutely. That was stupid. I let rage control me and ended up with a citation and a cracked rib. But confronting them, no regrets. She needed to know that I knew that she couldn't keep lying, and he needed to understand he was part of destroying a marriage, regardless of what she told him. The GPS tracker, the investigation, absolutely not. That evidence protected me in the divorce. Without it, she would have lied her way through everything, painted me as the villain, taken me for everything. So, that's my story. 10 years of marriage destroyed by infidelity, confronted her at a music festival, threatened at a Walmart, finalized in a courtroom. Not the story I expected to tell, but it's mine, and I'm still standing, still moving forward. That's all any of us can do. Learn from the pain, grow from it, and refuse to let it define who we become. If you've been through something similar, you're not alone. Trust your gut, gather your evidence, protect yourself legally, and remember, betrayal says everything about them and nothing about you. And remember, you deserve someone who chooses you every single time.